Hi, folks. My name is Girish, the host for Back to Basics, another Back to Basics for another week, for season 3, that is. Today, we're going to speak with J.M. Ryerson. He has a book called Let's Go Win. Now, sometimes when we think of the word win, the first thing comes in your mind is lose. Do we really want to think about lose, or do we only want to think about win? That's one thing that you got to go and figure out for yourself. But there's one thing that we do know what we're going to be talking about on this episode. We're going to talk about the body, the mind, and the soul. Those are the three things that it makes a person a winner, a, a fighter. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's go and chat with J.M. Ryerson and get to know him better, who he is, and what is he all about. So let's go and talk to him. Hi, folks. My name is Girish, as I said earlier in my introduction. Today we have JM, and we are going to be chit-chatting about let's win. I mean, that's what we're going to be talking about. And let's get going. And what we want to do is to learn, how do we win from a good or a bad situation? And that's what JM is here to go and help us understand his book and understand his whole creation. So why don't we just stop talking to me, and why don't we just talk to JM and get to know him better? JM, how are you? Thanks for coming to Back to Basics.
Girish, I am great, brother. Thank you for having me. I'm fired up to be here and so grateful to be on your show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again, JM. So before we get into the business of let's win, uh, tell me about, what do you think about Back to Basics? What do you think of Back to Basics?
Well, I love the idea because whenever I talk to my clients, so often we're going back to basics. We're simplifying things. We're making sure we're working on fundamentals because this world is so busy. There's so much going on. And so often we just allow so much into our life that when I think of back to basics, I think of all the sports I played, all the successful athletes that I've worked with. They're really, really good at being clear on what those are. So I love the name of the show, brother, and it's something I work with frequently with my clients.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for answering that question, and thank you again for coming here on Back to Basics and supporting me. JM, let me ask you this. Were you, sorry to say this, I'm going to say this, but did you think that you were a loser, that you had to be a winner when you come up with this concept? I mean, how did this whole concept started?
Yeah, it's such a good question, brother. And Let's Go Win started a long time ago. I love team sports. I love when people win. I love if Girish is winning, I'm winning. If I'm winning, Girish is winning. That's the whole idea. That's what's so funny about the name Let's Go Win. If you just think about it for a second, that's not saying, hey, JM, go win. That's saying together, let's win in this together. So I didn't ever feel as a loser or anything like that. Rather, the whole idea is setting yourself up to win every single day. Now, I have lots of losses. I have thousands of failures along the way, or setbacks. But there's not really a loss. It's just a learning experience. So the whole idea of Let's Go Win, I started back in the when I was 20. I was writing about this, and then I forgot about it. I legitimately had sat in my subconscious for over 20 years. And the principles of it are legitimately setting yourself up every single day to show up as the best version of you. And to me, that's winning. If I can wake up every day and say I gave my best, that's a win, regardless of the outcome of whatever endeavor we're pursuing.
Mhm. JM, thank you again. There's a reason why I asked, right? Because some people, they write something because it's back in their minds, or they went through that process, right? And that's why I asked that question. Now the question is, did the title come first, or the story of the book came first for you?
The book first, and when I wrote the book, I was actually writing it for my kids. The whole idea was so they wouldn't skin their knees as many times as I did. Right? As a parent, you want your child to have it better than you did, and not that I had an amazing life. I love my life. It's but as when I look at my kids, I wanted them to know lessons from my parents, grandparents, authors, all the mentors I've had so that they have a leg up on, whatever they're trying to pursue. So that's how it started. And as I was writing, I just had this vision of let's go win and then the three circles, which is my logo. What's crazy, brother, is when we were moving from California to Florida, I was cleaning out the garage and I'm flipping through a journal back when I was like 20 or 21. I don't know the exact date, but there it was. Let's go win. There was in black and white because I was just with a pen and paper. There was the logo. So I'd been thinking about it for a long time, but I guess I didn't realize it until I started really going through the process of writing the book.
Hmm. So basically, you're saying that all the mistakes and all the learnings that you did from others, you're passing on to your kids and every other whoever wants to learn from you. Is that right?
That's the hope, man. I mean, there's areas of life where I think if you have some tangible things that you work on, you can find more joy. You can, for instance, mindfulness. That's something that I talk about in one of the chapters. It's actually one of the chapters, and it's all about staying in the present moment. And I talk about how meditation has been a huge part for me. So it's something that I want my kids to know. This is why dad does this, is because he wants to respond, not react.
Hmm.
Or the how courage has been so important in any area of my life, applying courage, even in the face of fear, what it's allowed me to do, whether it's been a business, a relationship. And so that was the whole basis of the book, is to say, look, here's 12 areas of life where if you really put some focus in these areas, or here's some practices, then you can find more joy in the journey.
Hmm. Yeah. Thank you again, JM, for that. Let me ask you this. Um, you said you have three logos and three designs. Can you explain that to me if you don't mind?
Sure. So the logo, whoops, it's on my right side, is it stands for mind, body, and soul, because the basic premise of what I believe in is if you get up every single day, this is the most basic thing I coach on, and you take care of your mind, your body, and your soul before you do anything else, that's going to allow you to show up as the best version of you. And my best example that I can give, so often when I meet with my female clients, especially, I'll ask, hey, what do you do for yourself? And they'll list the kids, the house, the husband, the career, the dog. I mean, the list goes on and on. And I said, no, no, no. What do you do for yourself so that you can show up as the best version of whatever hat you're wearing? And it hits them like straight away. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not focused on me. How can I truly show up as the best version of me? So that's the idea of what the logo is. And right in the middle is you. So you
Mm.
have these circles that come together. And if you do these things, the very best version of you is right there in the middle. And there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's the basic, easy explanation of what the logo is all about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you again for that. People when you ask them a question that what makes you happy, then they think of other people around them. They don't even think for themselves. And I think that's where that concept came in for you. Is that right?
Yeah, it's fascinating when you hear people talk about I'm looking for somebody to make me happy. That
Hmm.
doesn't work that way. And if you keep looking for that, you're really never going to be happy, because you need to create happiness for yourself. When you
Hmm.
do that, that allows you to find that partner, that significant other, that business partner, to really enjoy that journey together, to be happy together. But when I hear people say I'm really looking for somebody to make me happy, you're in for a long haul, because it starts with you. And
Hmm.
what's interesting, I wish I could say back when I started Let's Go, when I knew that happy, healthy, wealthy is what I was going to be coaching, I didn't. It was courage, fun, transcend. Those
Hmm.
were the three real values of the company. But
mm,
I just recently realized as I'm talking to people, this is what they want. They want to be happy, they want to be healthy, and they want to be wealthy. And when I say wealth, there is a part of that that's monetary, but so much more goes into wealth in terms of your health, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your spirituality. So it's interesting how in the beginning I thought it was all about courage and having fun and transcending self-limiting beliefs. And I still believe that, but it was even more simple than that. It's being
mm,
happy, it's being healthy, and it's being wealthy.
mm. Yeah, thank you again. JM, the way you're talking, it seems like you're getting a reference a lot from sports. Are you related to sports in any way that you're bringing the same concept into this book?
So I am a former athlete. Many years ago, it's been a long time because I played basketball in college. I played every sport growing up, but I love sports. I mean, I one of the greatest joys I have today is watching my two sons compete in their respective sports. I think there's so much to be learned, whether it's an individual sport like my oldest son plays tennis very competitively, or my youngest plays baseball in more of a team sport. And
Mm,
so, no question about it, competition, teamwork, constantly, being put in adverse conditions. I love that about sports. And so I do bring that into, when I'm working with executives because there's so many parallels between the two.
mm.
But it's not like I'm still playing today. I'm no longer competitive in any of the sports other than really enjoying it. But I do coach a lot of athletes as well, on these concepts that I work on.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again. And it was just an observation of when the examples came in. So thank you again for that. Jam, let me ask you this. Maybe this is just a maybe in the thought process. When we say let's win, does that make it more negative for other people that, wow, wait a second, I think I need to take a step back and start readjusting my whole life to make it a win? Has that ever happened?
I mean, I've heard people say that, right? They have the concept if I win, someone else has to lose.
Lose.
And I think a lot of our world is shaped that way today. That's why the let's go is in the beginning of it. Let's go win together. So it's not me versus you. It's let's go do this together. So it is interesting, all these things that we have from growing up, definitions of what winning is or what losing is. For me, winning is getting up every single day and just giving it everything I have. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna win everything. I lose pickleball games all the time. I lose business deals, but the point is, I'm setting myself up every single day to win in
Mm,
that position. And so, are there losses? I have way more losses than I have wins in my life. And I learn more from those.
mm.
But together, collaboratively speaking, if we go win together, it's just a better world. It's a lot more fun, a lot more joy.
Yeah, thank you again for explaining that, because some people they might take it negatively when it comes to that. Well, if there's a win, there has to be a lose, right? And that's why I asked that question. So thank you again, JM, for explaining that, because I think the objective is to win regardless, right? But it depends on, if you lose, that's also still a win, right? Is that how I should portray that? What do you think?
So for me, there's really no loss unless you didn't learn, right? So failure, for instance, I hear people say all the time, "I love to fail, I hate to fail." Well, the truth is, you never actually fail unless you quit. The
Mm,
moment that you quit, that's when I truly think, okay, there's a failure. If I lose and I don't learn something from that, yeah, that's truly a loss. But
mm,
in every loss that I had, whether it's playing athletics or in business, I learned more from those losses than I did from being at the top of the mountain or everything's going great. During times of challenging times, like for instance, the market right now, it's a little challenging. People are
mm,
getting forced to really evaluate how strong are we as an executive team? How strong is our business? How strong
mm,
are our core values? You're doing that in the times of challenge, not in the times when everything's good. Because when things are great, the old adage of it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
and fix it.
that's kind of how people act. But when it's tough, man, you have to really evaluate, are we doing our best to show up as the best version of us?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jam. Do you think the thought process has kind of changed from pre-COVID to post-COVID?
That's a fascinating question because I think a lot has shifted in our world post COVID. I think people have started to question, what did I actually love what I was doing, or was I just kind of going through life? I think so many people were faced with this, whether it was a reality or not. This is a life or death situation. They started really saying, am I doing everything that makes me happy? Am I really enjoying the short time that I have on earth? I
Mm,
think the perspective has shifted. Now there
mm,
was a lot of negativity that came along with the pandemic. Like there's
mm,
just turn on the news station, you found it.
mm,
But I think a lot of amazing perspective also came. I think people also really started to value their health. They really started to value their time on this earth. Now, are we going to shift back and just go into our normal routine? More than likely, unfortunately, it happens. I was just talking about this with somebody about 9/11. The most united this country has been in my lifetime was right after 9/11. Well,
yes.
guess what? We've kind of lost that a little bit now down the line. Now we're pointing fingers across the aisle. The left's this, the right's that.
Mm,
Look, we're one country trying to win, but right now we have two sides that they're not trying to do it together. And
mm,
so I was hoping COVID would be a springboard towards, hey, we're fighting this together. This is something that's going to unite us. Unfortunately, I think it went the other way. So it's
mm.
just a funny thing about this life, man. If we don't have perspective, we lose in regards to the country. And the country is really in a challenge in that regard because you have two sides fighting and bickering so much instead of actually trying to look at, what are we trying to accomplish?
Mm. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Thank you so much for that. Because some people they pick sides, and then they get into fights, and then get into disagreements and a whole bunch of stuff. So I totally agree with that. Thank you again for that. JM, we started a new segment for Back to Basics on season 3, and it's a rapid fire round. So there are some few words or sentences, whatever comes in my mind, and I want you to go and answer whatever comes in your first mind when I say these words. You ready?
I'm ready, brother.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Awesome, awesome. Win.
Show up as the best version of you.
Pyramid.
Strength. Man, mythical. So many questions.
Step back.
Reevaluate.
Mistakes.
Learning.
Learnings.
Gifts.
Mind.
Everything.
Body.
Health.
Soul.
You.
Wealth.
Health.
Quit.
Never.
Back to basics.
Beautiful.
JM.
This is me. Like it or love it, hate it, it doesn't matter. This is just who I am.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a sport and playing the Back to Basics rapid fire. Uh, before you leave today, I wanted to ask you this question: do you think that the book that you came up with, do you think there will be a 2.0 version of this? Do you think that it's an old method of writing what you have written 20 years ago, and there
Gosh,
will be something new?
I love this question, and I waffle so often on this. Yes, I think there's always things that we want to improve on, and we always evolve and learn. And you know what I would say, Girish, to this question? I
Mm,
didn't write my book for so long because I was waiting for the right time. I
mm,
wanted to make sure I knew everything I needed to know to write the book.
mm,
And so to your point, what I learned from some of my favorite authors is that they did update it. They said, "Look, my mind changed a little bit here. This shifted there." So my guess is this particular book will never shift or change, because I'm working on the third book right now, and yes, my perspective has changed from 3 or 4 years ago in certain regards, but the fundamentals of where I was at in that moment, I gave it everything I had. So I don't see a radical shift ever coming, but maybe to make, the newer quotes, to make it more reflective of today's time. I think of like the book Think and Grow Rich, how they updated that from back in the 20s to now today, so the language would make more sense. So I can see that, but I think fundamentally speaking, it'll stay the same.
Yeah, thank you so much, and hopefully, if that book comes rebooted, please come back to basics, and we'll I guess revise what we did today, and then we're gonna revise again later, in the next episodes.
That'd be amazing, brother. I appreciate it, and I had such a great time with you. I really appreciate it.
So before you leave today, one quick question, if you don't mind. So, is there a book that you're reading that it's resonating with you and is making you happy today as we speak?
Well, there's a book that I constantly read every single day, and that's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. There's 3 books that I continuously read every year. That would be one. Another one is Man's Search for Meaning. I read it every year to give me true perspective. And I guess a current one, I'm reading The Innovation Stack by Jim. Shoot, I'm gonna mess up his name, but it's a really interesting business book from the gentleman that started Square, and it's been good, man. It's kind of given a nice little uplift to pursuing business every day. So those 2 though are constant. Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, and Man's Search for Meaning is a beautiful book.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you again, JM. And before you leave today, how was your trip on Back to Basics? And do you have any last words to all my listeners and my viewers?
Well, the trip down Back to Basics was amazing. You're an awesome host, brother. You were just so accommodating, great questions, you challenged. So I do love that. In terms of my last thoughts, it's over my left shoulder, and I guess it'd be my right shoulder. To show up as you. I tell people every day, the most freeing experience is just to be you, that beautiful soul that you are. So I hope everybody's able to do that. And I guess the one thing I would say, if you got any value, I would love people to come check out Let's Go Win podcast as well, so we can talk more about showing up as you and as your best version. So Girish, you're an amazing guy. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, JM, for coming here, and thank you for supporting me on my small podcast that I have for you. So thank you again for that.
Truly my pleasure.
So guys, we spoke with JM today, and we talked about winning, and that's all we talked about. There's no losers here, because it's always about increments, and that's what we're trying to do here. Now, as usual, as always, and by the way, there's always champions too. Now, as usual, as always, there is a quote of the day from Back to Basics, and the quote is, "A champion is someone who gets up when he can't." And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give everyone the push. Now, as usual, as always, what do we always say at the end of the episode? Everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care. God bless. See you next time on Back to Basics.
Back to Basics podcast and Girish is an amazing opportunity to learn, to listen, and to really receive some amazing feedback on how you can get better in life. And I had such a great time sharing my experiences, what Let's Go Win is all about. So hope you get a chance to check it out, because he does an incredible job, and it's definitely full of a ton of value that you will get.
Hi guys, thank you again for tuning in to Back to Basics and listening to the excellent episode that we had today with our guest. With your love and support, we do need you to at least rate our show, review our show, because it does make us stronger day by day, week by week, as I usually say on my episodes. And there are 3 things in this episode that it makes a hit for me, which is the content, the guest, and definitely the host. So guys, take care, God bless, and remember, everything in life goes back to basics, and that's what we did today, guys. Guys, take care, God bless, and see you next time on Back to Basics.